Thanks for being here today. For your Duna, I wanted you thinking about overpopulation, too many people in a country, too many people in the world. Do you believe it's a problem? Why or why not? Now, you could have answered either way. You could have said, no, it's not a problem because we have enough resources and there's lots of different cultures, lots of different places to live. Some people want big, busy cities. You also said, no, it is a problem because there's too many people. We're using up our resources too fast and causing pollution, whatever you wanted to say. A lot of different answers to that question. Today, we're going to start talking about Southeast Asia. Here it is on the map. And our goal is to understand why population grows and how it impacts society when it does grow. So we're going to be talking about issues around population with these different countries like India, Indonesia, Vietnam, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Philippines. Those are some of the countries we're going to be learning about. So here are some pictures of these different countries. You can see population's a big deal in most of these countries. There are a lot of people. This is some of the most densely populated places in the world where there's a lot of people in a small area. Today we're going to be doing a lot of questions through Pear Deck. So if you want to open up your Chromebook, first I want you to make a prediction about global population. Why has it risen so fast in the last 100 years? For all of human history, we were a pretty steady population. Then all of a sudden, we shoot straight up. Or somewhere in the area of a few 100 million, and then all of a sudden it's 8 billion. Why has it gone up so fast? You can pause the video. Now, there's lots of reasons for this spike in population. One of the main reasons is new technology makes it easier for people to get access to food as well as medicine. People are surviving childhood. They're producing a lot more food and safety precautions and medical equipment, and all that has led to people living longer lives, but also surviving childhood and all that stuff. All right, now I want you to explain a pattern you're seeing between developed and underdeveloped, or developing and developed countries. You can pause the video. What you hopefully notice is that while both developing and developed countries rose in population for a good 200 years, it's in sort of the last 50 or so years that the developing countries have exploded in population. Developing countries, mainly in Asia and Africa, has seen this huge increase, while the developing world has sort of leveled off and gone downward. So when we ask ourselves, why does population grow so fast in some places and not others? Well, there's a series called population development stages. So the way it works is when you're in stage one, you're not very developed as a country. You don't have modern technology. You don't have modern healthcare and access to food. And people have lots of babies. That's what this yellow line represents, how many babies you're having. Green represents the death rate. So when you don't have any modern technology, you have lots of babies, but a lot of people die. So your population stays low. You don't have a big population because not a lot of people survive very long. Stage two is when you start developing early technology. And this is where you start having medicines and vaccines, and everyone has access to food. But culture hasn't changed, so people keep having lots of babies. Right? People keep having 5, 6 kids per family, but you can see the death rate starts to drop. All of those kids start surviving and start having their own kids. This is a huge increase in population where normally, you'd have 6 kids and 2 or 3 would survive. Now all 6 survive and have 6 kids of their own. Right? So you have a huge increase in population. The next stage, technology is still advancing. Your death rate is still dropping very quickly, but culture is starting to catch up. People start having less and less kids. As a result, your population starts to slow down. Stage 4 is when people start having about 2 kids per family, but kids mainly survive through childhood, so your population stays about the same. It levels off. Stage 5 is when, we're starting to see some countries where people aren't having kids anymore. They're having 1 or no kids. And the result is your population is actually decreasing. Everyone is getting into old age dying, but they're not having kids to replace them. So each of these stages are different aspects of modern society. There's not really a whole lot of countries in stage one. If you go back like 50 or 100 years, then Africa would fit here. Stage two, this is Africa right now. They're getting access to a little bit more healthcare, and their death rate is dropping, but their birth rate is still high, so their population is growing. Same with Asia. Africa and Asia are both in stage one and stage two, or sorry, stage two and stage three. The U.S. is in stage four, and our population is sort of leveling off. A lot of Europe is in stage five, where their population is actually decreasing. We're going to watch a quick video about population development stages. Next, I want you to summarize what you've been learning about how these different stages work and how population and development are linked. And then also, what do you expect to happen to global population in the next 50 years? Will it keep increasing? Will it go very fast? Will it go up very slow? Will it start to decrease? What do you think is going to happen? Next, we're looking at this chart of most populous countries currently, and then in the next 30 years or so, who's going to be the most populated. So based on what you're seeing now and what's going to be happening in the future, which countries do you think is more developed, India or China? And explain why. And this one, I'd say China is more developed because their population is not going to expand. And they're further along in their development stages than India, who's a little behind. Their population is still growing very rapidly. So one thing we note is that poverty and overpopulation are linked together. There's a connection between countries that are struggling to develop and their population. If you have higher rates of poverty, you usually have higher population growth. Education and overpopulation are opposites. As women get more educated, overpopulation becomes less of a problem. Seven percent of all humans who've ever lived are alive right now. Kind of a crazy fact. If we all lined up, we'd go around the world 300 times. We could reach the moon and back. But if we were all squeezed together, we'd fit in LA. Kind of some weird stats about global population. This is a cartogram. So the bigger the country appears, the bigger the population. This isn't showing actual land size. This is showing population. So how does Asia compare to the rest of the world? Obviously, Asia is significantly larger. This is showing population density, so the more red meaning more people. Why do you think there's so many people living in Asia? And there's lots of reasons. Asia is in the development stage, but it's also had very high carrying capacity, as we call it. Lots of people, lots of resources. We'll watch another video about global population growth. When it's over, you can summarize what the video is about. Next, what is this map showing you? This map is trying to show the difference in fertility rates, how many kids everybody has. You can see 50 years ago, good half of the world was having lots of kids, whereas now, you're talking one or two. All right, make a prediction about the future based on a pattern you're seeing in this map. Hopefully you notice that Africa is the continent that's growing most rapidly in population, whereas lots of places in Europe, North America are really slowing down. Last, you're going to open this link. It's going to bring you to a lot of different statistics about population. You're going to have to scroll through and find some answers. If you need help, let me know. Last, we got a map that shows each dot shows 100,000 people. So do the what, where, why for this map.